Well, I do believe I'm alive now. So people are going to start messaging. Give us a look. No, there's no one on yet, so I'll just wait. See if we can get some people on. I'm not sure if anybody's actually on. I can't tell. Let's set up properly. Right, well, today I'm going to talk about maritime law, the implications and the creation of it, or why it actually exists. You have to bear with us on this because there's a few connections and a few patterns that will seem random, but they're all connected, and to connect them is the hard part. So I'll have to remember it so it flows. Hopefully it'll work. So maritime law, we'll just start. Well, we'll start with the creation of things, because that will lead to the answers. So maritime, well, everything starts in the subconscious. Everything starts female. So mari is water or sea. So the subconscious controls absolutely everything. You know, it's saying I've got a slow connection, so hopefully I'll still be connected. Right, hi everyone. Right, I won't be answering any comments, by the way, because if I do, I'll lose my trail of thought, and that'll be and I'll get stuck. So yeah, maritime law. Mari or ma is the sea. So that's me, mari, me. All of those just mean sea. So once you understand that everything's water or the sea, it starts to explain things to your subconscious. So your subconscious, you remember things. So why is everything a ship? Well, the last answer to that I won't say until the very end, because that is like the reason why everything is a ship. But you're separated, yeah, you're separated from the waters. So we need words like soul, and because someone asked us the other day, where's the soul in the body? So you got to look up the word soul. And when you look up soul, it means eventually you get to sea, because it says it means sea. It comes from seo. And eventually, when you look at the etymology, it comes from seo, and seo is from the sea. So everything comes from the sea first. So your soul, or the singularity point. So you have to find. So where's the sea in the body? Well, what's the salt water in the body? A saline solution. So blood. So you know the blood represents the sea. So where's the singularity point of that? That'll be your heart. So you know that the heart is the singularity point of the sea. So your soul is your heart. You'll all see in the biblical images of what the earth's supposed to look like. And you'll see the word Sheol. So you look S-H-E-O-L. So you look up the word Sheol. And Sheol's Hebrew for where the soul goes before and after death. So again is the sea. So Sheol is the sea. Soul is the sea. Your subconscious is feminine, which is the waters, which is the sea. So you'll start to see the pattern. Everything comes from the waters. So it still doesn't explain maritime law. So mari, the sea, time in the sea. Now people will argue and say, no, it's maritime. Maritime simply means shipping and trade as opposed to law of the land. Well, not quite. It's never that simple. So how was the soul separated in the very first place? Well, this goes back to the Taurus. Once you understand, everything comes from the waters. So if you're on the waters, and the Taurus stands up off the waters, that's what creates a separation. It's simple. If you're in the waters and then you're on top of the waters, so you become like separated from the waters, then you are still the water, but it's like a drop of water. Still has the whole essence of the ocean within it, but it's separated from the ocean. But you put it back in the ocean, it becomes the ocean again. It's the same principle. So because the Taurus is separated from the water into the gas, the masculine energy, the whole Taurus is within masculine energy. The whole Taurus. Within the Taurus, you get the separation between masculine and feminine. And the separation within that is what then creates trade. But we'll get to that. So once your Taurus has been separated from the waters, which happens when you're birthed, you become separated from the waters. Your Taurus is now not within the waters. So consciously, when you're in the womb, you're always... consciously when you're in the womb, you're in the waters. So every time you leave the waters, you're birthed and you come onto land. Now, this goes for sleep too. Now, I don't know how long this video will last, because I might just go through it really quickly. I don't want to, but yeah, shit happens. So, what was I saying? Yeah, every time you go to sleep. So, consciously through the day, you're awake and you're separated from the waters. Now, you'll all see in the post I've done the reason for yawning, or the ritual of sleep. The ritual of sleep is simply you going back into the waters. And that's all it is. So you're going back into the womb. So it's a memory of going back into the womb. And the importance of this is to show why the plasma event is going to happen and what it actually represents. It's the same, everything's the same pattern. So the pattern represents, like I say, it's feminine and masculine energy. So every time you go to sleep, consciously, you go back within the waters. Hence why everybody collectively is in that world during sleep. And then when you wake up, you're separated from the waters again, being birthed. And you come back and you're separated and you're conscious, in your ego. In your ego world, doesn't know who it is, doesn't remember the subconscious, doesn't know all of these things. So every night you go back into the waters, back into the collective consciousness, and every morning you wake up from it, birthed, and you forget. Because the amniotic fluid is supposed to be the waters of forgetfulness, drinking from the cup of forgetfulness. So it's actually the amniotic fluid that makes you forget. So urine therapy isn't necessarily a good thing, because if you're drinking from the cup of forgetfulness, which is urea in the amniotic fluid, which is urine, you're literally drinking from the cup of forgetfulness every time you drink your own urine. So don't expect to remember things if you do. Okay, so we've got subconscious, we know it's in the waters during sleep. So that explains why we'll get feminine energy first. It's also the same reason why men have nipples. Everything's female first. Everything's feminine energy first, and then masculine energy. There's some really important things to this, we'll get to in a minute. So okay, so why is everything a ship? Why trade? Why do I have ships? Well, everything starts in the waters, and don't think of it like trade as in what we have now, because it's not the same thing. It starts with everything starts as energy, so that's where we'll need to look at it from. So I live in a place called Walker, which is down the road from a place called Baker, which is just down the road from the city centre of Newcastle. And lately I've been looking at, or I've joined Facebook pages on the history of Newcastle where they show old photos. And it was an old photo, because Newcastle used to be a walled city. And there was many walled cities around the world. But obviously I'm not anywhere but Newcastle, so I just focus on Newcastle. And there was an old photo once where it showed you Baker, which is just down the road from Newcastle, which was outside the walled city. And this, I had read about this, so I was just reading it, but that's what led to the idea, or the memory. So the people in Baker didn't want to be part of Newcastle or the walled city. They wanted to be separate still. And it went to the House of Lords, and the House of Lords agreed that it should be part of the Newcastle. So everyone in Baker then become part of the Newcastle Corporation. And I'm like, the Newcastle Corporation? So Newcastle is a corporation. You'll all know this. So every city is a corporation. Every country is a corporation. But you've got to ask what a corporation is. Many people will come up with legalese and say corporations is, and it's incorporated as your name with your surname and all of that. But before all of this, you've got to question how it gets there in the first place. So if a walled city, all over the world, now I think it was the King of England, whoever it was at the time, I can't remember the name. So let's just look at it like a franchise. Let's just say the King has a corporation, if you like, or a business. So all it is really doing trade. You can call it what you want, but we'll just call it a trade because that's what you're actually doing. You're exchanging things. I'm saying that word as well. So look at it like Newcastle, like a franchise. So the King or the monarch has the first corporation. Everything else after that is a franchise. So what they're buying and selling, well, it depends on what the city has to offer. The resources. Newcastle at first, apparently, so they say, was for coal mining. So they'd done coal first, then they built ships. But the coal mining would have been part of the walled city. But before that, after that, they started building ships, using the Tyne for that, or the River Tyne for that. And that led us on to thinking, well, okay, if everything's a walled city, why do you have a walled city? Well, once you understand how man used to claim things around the world, this will make sense. So you have to work the land to be able to say that it's yours, or to claim, not ownership, but call it stewardship, looking after it. So no one else can work the land that you're working, and that's how you claim it. But to do that, you have to fence it off. You have to fence it off and then work the land, and then you can claim it. So why would you do that though? So what comes after that? So that's just you by yourself. So now you're living in with other people. So you've got a community going. Once you've got a community, this is when legal comes into it. Legal is just an agreement that people are making. So if people agree to live in a certain kind of way with their rules in their walled city, everyone who agrees to that in the city, that's their legal system. Then you'll have sheriffs and all the rest of it too, so these rules are abided by. But let's just say we didn't have courts to punish people. Let's say punishment wasn't a thing. You weren't allowed to, because you're not allowed to force your will on anybody else, even if they've done what we would call a crime. So how would you punish them, and how would you do that? Well, you just extradite them out of the city. You're not allowed to live in the city or the walls of the city anymore if you don't abide by these rules. That's the agreement. And in the agreement, you would agree that if you don't abide by the rules, that you'll be extradited. You get kicked out. Is that extradited? Or is extradited moved from one place to another? You know what I mean, though. You get kicked out of the walled city. So if you've been kicked out of the walled city, then you have to fend for yourself. So I think that's basically where the legal started, or how you'd come up with these agreements. Or contracts, if you like. So that would explain why we have walled cities. It explains why we have a legal system. It's just an agreement. But how did it change? So we'll look at now what trade actually is. I watched a video the other day. This is what I say, that just random events that just seem to just appear for no reason. But then you go back to the thought and you go, why am I saying this? Why is this put in my awareness? So it was I think he was a Shaolin monk or something like that, and he was talking about energy, and he was talking about exchanging of energy. And it's obvious. Masculine and feminine energy. So think autumn and spring. That's the exchange, or the change in energy. So you go from masculine energy, positive energy, then you go to negative energy. But there's a transfer of that energy, and that's the left side of the brain or the right side of the brain. The front of the brain is masculine, the back of the brain is feminine. No, wrong way around. The front of the brain is feminine, the back of the brain is masculine. Pituitary gland at the front, pineal gland at the back. The left is feminine, the left's masculine, the right feminine. Yeah, that's right. And then the collective brain, it goes from the front, from creation, the front, the left, the back, the right, the front, the left, the back, the right. When it gets to the front of the brain, that's the end. And that's this year after March. So we're now at the very last stage, the feminine. That's division. It's feminine energy, but it's still divided. The left side's masculine energy divided. We're now in the feminine energy being divided. That's why everybody's still divided. But come March, we'll get to the feminine energy at the front, where all the memories will be remembered. The truth should be out by this point, I'm thinking. Or more people will know the truth than not. By this point, I think the division will have happened, and the people who will wake up or awakened, and the ones who aren't simply won't. And that's it. So you got a question. What is the change of energy? So like I say, spring and autumn. So what you do in spring? Well, you plant seeds. So you can see how the change is starting. Now in autumn, you'll harvest what you've created. Again, you're changing, you're exchanging the energy. So the change or exchange of energy comes from the Taurus itself, in masculine energy, changing or exchanging energy with the feminine energy. That's all it is. So exchange comes from change. Then there's another word for change. What's another word you use for change? Money. So what's money? Moony. Everything comes from the moon, subconscious. So moony, feminine energy, the waters. Now remember, cash flow, or moony, or what's the other word? I can't think of the word. But yeah, they all mean... Oh, sorry. So in England, we use sterling silver. That's what it was. Our bullion was sterling silver, the moon. Now we all know that notes or cash money, like as in paper money, was a promissory note. It isn't what we're supposed to be using. So why would you use coins? Why were coins used? Well, coins are metal. Now all the planets are metals. Now I think coins were used from the luminaries, and that's how we got the levels of coins. So in England, I started counting the coins up. Right, now bear in mind this would have been silver at one point, and then you would have had smaller coins, which I reckon would have been represented by the luminaries. So how many coins have you got in England? We have a penny, 2 pennies, 5 pence, 10 pence, a 20 pence now, 50 pence. So 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, a 50, and a pound coin. You did have a £2 coin. Well, we have got a £2 coin that came out recently, so, well, more recent than not. But that would have given you 7 coins with the 7 luminaries. Now, again, coincidence? I don't know. I don't think so. So I think coins were created based on the amount of what the coin's worth would have been based on the luminaries, and I think the coins themselves would have been based on the luminaries, or that's how we would have got them. So then we'll go from coins. What we'll go from coins, we'll get trade. So instead of just using trade, so think of trade like the Chinese make silk, someone else makes wine, but you want to exchange those goods. Well, you're going to need coins that everybody uses. You can't just use your coins. So I think then, well, that's when everybody would use the same coins around the world. And I think the head and the tail of a coin, again, shows the Taurus. The head being the top of the Taurus, the tails being the bottom of the Taurus. You put the coin flat, it becomes the plane of inertia. And even say the lines around the side of a coin could be the flux lines going over. So coins themselves just represent the Taurus. Again, everything represents the Taurus, or being represented by the Taurus. So from that, we've got coins, we've got trade. So what do we trade? Well, we trade goods. What are goods? Goods are property that can be bought and sold. So what's property? Well, anything that can be bought and sold, so anything that's been created. So you've got to question, why buy and sell things that's been created? What does the creation do? You're the creation. The creator created you, but you're the creation. So why do I have trade? Well, that's what energy does. It trades within itself. So you have ideas. you exchange ideas. So again, we've got to question language, and why do you have language? Now this one goes back, this question goes back to before I was even awakened. I answered this question. It was based on a video I watched once, years ago, of it was an Indian girl who got brought up by wolves in the wild, so she didn't learn to speak. I think she got brought up, it was quite early, and she didn't get taken away from the wolves until about 11. And they tried to teach her to speak, and she couldn't. She could learn words, but she couldn't learn grammar. And then from there, I remembered years later that you had to learn grammar by a certain age. And I'm like, and they said it was around 3, I think. So I questioned that years later. I was like, well, why? Why do I have language? Then I remembered that video. And then I started thinking, okay, then, what's your earliest memories? What's the earliest memory you can remember? Some people have early ones, but the majority of your earliest memories, where you've got a few of them, I would say is around the time you start learning language or start to learn to speak. Why? Because your memories are directly associated with words. Now, if you were by yourself and you had memories, you'd remember images, but you wouldn't have words to associate with those images. So the only reason you have language is to communicate those images that you have in your head with somebody else, and you can exchange ideas. So then you get exchange, and that takes you back to money again. Now, if there's no paper notes, what you got? Change. Why is it called change? Because you exchange with it. X, I think in legalese means in. So in change. So, or out of, I think it's out of. So it's out of change. So out of change, money, you can gain goods. Or, well, you can call it goods if you want, but the word goods. The word goods comes from good. I only learnt this just the other day. So good, spelled G-O-A-D, is God. Why? God created things in the Bible, anyway, it says this. God created heaven and earth and said what? It was good. Goods. So, what is heaven and earth? Well, it's everything. It's a Taurus. You're the Taurus. That makes you goods. That's how your body is being bought and sold and traded. It's a creation. You can only sell what's been created. So what's been created? Your body, your vessel was created. Your body, your vessel is not you. People saying, oh, I'm the living man. What does that even mean? Unless you associate the word man with mind, it means nothing. You're just making it, you might as well say you're a brick. It makes no difference. You can go and argue that you're a man all you want and a living man. Again, you're arguing with people who do not know. If you go to court and you start saying you're a living man, and so you're a living man, brilliant. Remember, your law or law is created by you, not somebody else's law. That's just theirs, and it's based on a corporation, which is a business. So you're just following rules or policy of a business. Literally, that's all you're doing. Yes, it's a worldwide business, but that's literally what you're doing. You have no reason to do that, and we'll come to the solution to that in the end. So now I want to come up to, so you can understand that you don't necessarily want to be praying to God. Because you look at the etymology of God, it's got no original, it's got no, or nobody knows its original meaning, where it came from. Well, that's because on its own it didn't. It was something else, and it was goods, or good, which is just goods to be bought or sold. Hence why you can be bought or sold. That's why you swear in the Bible and you swear to God. But you notice that courts don't swear to God anymore. Have you noticed that? You've just got to promise to tell the truth. Aye. So, masculine and feminine energy. I'm going to go back to this. So, many people think that they can judge other people. Now, I want you to think about this. Now, because this is pretty important. So, you know that the stomach is, well, not your stomach itself, your intestines. Your stomach is a gateway, a gatekeeper. So much nonsense going around about these things, but when you break it down, it's so simple. So, Your stomach or your intestines is feminine energy. This is masculine energy. Yes, it's got feminine and masculine within it, but overall it's all masculine when you're awake. So that's masculine energy. When you're asleep, it's feminine. But masculine energy for the day. Now, think of women and men in your life that you know. Think of an angry man when he's angry and all aggressive. Think of a woman who's angry, who wants to get her own way, who will use tricks and everything to get her own way. And think of a man who's a bully, who's a twat, who forces his will on other people. Yeah, they're you. All of those people and those characters are you. Your character is based on the luminaries of when you were born. Yes? So let's just say there's one light, white light, and you are going to become one. There's 360 degrees of it. So you want to be one part of that light. It can be at the zenith when it's its brightest, and then it goes down and gets dimmer and dimmer until it's at the bottom. So whatever planet is near the zenith when you're born, that's what will be ruling. Then it's based on the zodiac, but the zodiac again is just divided. The planet's being divided into their positive and negative energy. And then the zodiac itself is divided into its positive and negative energy. So it's just division, cell division all of the time. So now, once you start thinking about that, remember your feminine energy, the subconscious, controls the masculine energy, the consciousness. Feminine energy first. So what happens? So you're a small child. You're a small child and your mom's giving you all of the right foods that a child needs. Then grandma comes along and she wants to spoil the child. She'll give this child, so the child's eating fruits. So it's getting all its sugars from fruit. Yeah, nice, just right for the body. Grandma or someone else comes along and gives the child some sweets. Well, what you've just done there is give that feminine energy, the stomach or the intestines, fake sugar. Now, the body likes sugar and salts for certain reasons. Sugars are, well, if you consume a lot of sugar, you're replacing love with sugar. And that's what you're doing. Salt is for anger, I think. So, if you start giving the child lots of sweet things and all the wrong things, whilst they're growing up from 0 to 7, if you're doing all that and then you continue after that, well, what you done? Okay, you've got a spoiled child. You've got a child and you give it everything it wants. It's a little girl and you give her everything she wants. Yeah, she gets a teenage years and she gets everything she wants. Right, and then she gets to after 21. She's in her 20s now. What kind of woman is she going to be? She's used to getting everything she wants. Yeah. She's a spoilt child. Now that child, as she grows up, is going to become a not very nice woman. Why? Because you've spoilt her. She doesn't know how to take the word no. And no, you can't have that, or you've got to do this instead. She doesn't like to hear that. She likes to get her own way. Well, that's just what you've trained everyone's stomach when you're given the wrong foods. Now remember, that's your subconscious. That's your feminine energy. You start feeding that feminine energy the wrong foods, later on in life, your reactions are going to be based on how you feel. Everybody projects out how they feel. What's wrong with that? Well, how do you feel? Okay, you know if you're hungry, and people call it hangry, because you're angry when you're hungry. Who is angry? What's making you angry? That's your feminine energy. That's the woman inside of you who's now being a little bitch. I want. Feed me. Do what I want. And what you should do if you don't listen? Well, you start getting angry. You start projecting that out. You projecting out how you feel. Now, multiply this. Let's say in the end days, there's no food. There's going to be a lot of hungry people around. Why? Because the feminine energy is going to take over. She's never not got what she wants. Most people haven't went a full day without food. They do not know what that's like. Let alone 2 or 3 or 5. They haven't got a clue. So when they do, or it's forced on them, that feminine energy is going to fight. And that's what's coming. So you've got to understand that the feminine energy will then call upon the masculine energy to be violent. So every time you get an angry man out there in the world, he's being controlled by the feminine energy. And again, based on the trauma, people call it trauma, your experiences of being a child will dictate how you feel in the future. Unless you take control of the feminine energy, your subconscious. You control it. And if you don't control how you feel, you will then project out how you feel, and the majority of the time, that's negative. I watched a video many years ago about this, I don't know what it was or who he was. It was some African tribe leader. And the reporter asked him, because he'd give this speech, and he'd give this speech in English, and the reporter asked him why he had give the speech in English and not in his native tongue. And his response was, in English, I'm able to express myself much more. And I was thinking, yeah, that's why I like speaking English, man, because you're able to express yourself much better. No, even he said, that isn't necessarily a good thing. Why? The English language, yeah, you're able to express yourself positively, also negatively. And then again, the majority of people don't know how to control their emotions. Thus, the majority of the time you'll project out negative feelings or emotions because we're living in predominantly a negative world right now. So everybody's projecting out negative feelings. Oh, I feel bad, or feel this, no, fucking them, fucking that, fucking that. And the point of the thing is, and they're blaming everybody else and everything else, bar looking in at themselves and asking themselves, why do they feel the need to judge outside of them? You can't stop it. Everyone's talking about paedophiles and all of this, and you go, well, wait, stop it then. You go out of the world now and stop all paedophiles. Then you'll find out that you can't. So why are you trying? If you can't change something that's outside of you, stop trying to change it. The more you focus on it, the more you talk about it, you're making it real. You're giving that energy life. So people who are complaining about the majority of these things are actually creating them by complaining about them. You stop complaining and they go away. You're creating resistance, and resistance creates energy, and you will think about these things that you resist. Then you will experience it. Even if you're not being nonced or anything like that, you'll experience the feeling of what you think it would feel like to be nonced or have someone force their will on you. And then you'll project out how you feel about that. And that doesn't help or solve anything. All it will do is these people who have been traumatized with that experience will then feel like a victim. And then you say, you should feel like this because this happened to you. And now they feel bad about themselves, their life and experience, and they call it trauma. And now they've got PTSD and all this other bullshit. No, you had an experience, you didn't die, you lived through it, and the whole point in it is so you know not to do it, or, well, you should know not to do it anyway, like, but you don't get a choice in these things. If people had a choice not to kill, rape, or murder, they wouldn't. It wouldn't be a thing. If you think you can control these things, so why is everybody doing it? Or why is it being done? Again, it all comes down to that masculine and feminine energy that people do not remember how to control. And it leads to the world that we've got now. There is answers, so there is answers to it all. Yeah, so why ships? Why do ships exist? Ships themselves exist because the Taurus exists. So you're a vessel of what? Of water. You're a body of water separated from the waters. Yeah? So you are a ship for the mind on the oceans of the mind. So your vessel, in essence, is a ship, and you're a Taurus. That means every Taurus is a ship. Therefore, the earth itself is a ship, the mothership. So everything's a ship, bar nothing. Corporations are ships doing trade within themselves. Everything's a ship. Everything. So the first business or corporation is the earth itself. And then it franchises out within itself. Then you get smaller ones and smaller ones and smaller ones till you get a little family business. It's all the same thing. I haven't went into breaking down of words very much, which I was going to do, but for whatever reason I haven't. So, how do we solve it? What's the remedy? Well, again, it's in the word. Rem, in legalese, is in. in what's remedy. So again, it's a phonetics. It's not remedy. It's remedy. And medi is middle. Med is middle. So in the middle. In the middle of what? In the middle of the sine wave. Not positive, not negative. In the middle. So the remedy is to be centered. And how do you become centered? You become centered by not making silly claims. So what's the claims that you make? Right, this is the answer. Now, this is more important than anything I share, because this is the answer, and we've only got like so many months left to do this. So the gathering, what's the gathering about? How will it be created and how will it manifest? Well, the gathering itself is going to be the collection of the awakened, the chosen, those that choose. Yeah. So I've got a friend that connected with a man called Marcel in America. I've looked online for a long time because I didn't have time to focus on the legal system to find the solutions or to write it. I didn't have time to do that. I was too busy working out everything else. But I knew that there was people in the world that were doing it. So that wasn't my purpose. And it took a long time to find people who had done the work that needs to be done to be able to do this. And the problem you have is the majority of people that wake up and they remember how to do it will say it's a personal thing. You've got to wake up yourself and then do it yourself. And I'm like, yep, I agree. But the majority of people aren't going to do that. There isn't enough time to do that. So what's the solution? Like I say, I've got a friend, Tracy, who she linked up with someone called Marcel, an American man that's done all of this work already. He's already free from the system. Mark Kishon Christopher also did this, but money. And for that reason, I'm like, no, you haven't got the answers. So you could join him and he would teach you how to create what Marcel's already done. So Marcel's already created paperwork to free you up and create your own society. You only need 3 people to do this. And you can create a society. All you do is send the paperwork. You obviously got to create it. So you print out the paperwork. He's already got the template, we'll call it, but it's a US version. So the US version, you're writing to Biden and it's all American. So I needed a British one. So I changed it slightly. But anyway, the aim is, well, when you listen to his videos, he talks about, because he explains how to do it and all that. He says that he tried it once, that he created a society and anybody could join. But he didn't do that for long because he realised that people didn't necessarily agree with his way of thinking. Well, yeah, I get that. But the important thing is, I believe, is you just have to know that it's not right. And there has to be another way. That's all you generally have to know. You don't have to know everything that I know or the whole legal system and all that. I don't believe you need to know all of that, because you don't know it already, so it makes no difference. And to get to know all of the language and the words and legalese and all of that takes a long time to learn it, to be able to speak fluently in court and all of that. So you want to avoid that. You don't want to do that. And the best way to do it is to create the society. Then, once it's created, once 3 people have created that society, anybody can join. Anyone. Yeah. So we'll create a sovereign society that anyone can sign up to. And the way it's wrote is, so all your rights are intact. Your inalienable rights from birth. The true rights that you've got. The right to travel. You can even claim back the CCQV trust. So you can claim that. You can claim ownership of that. You write your own passport and you create your own bank accounts. We change it all. Now, I'm just fucking Rob. I mean, I'm not going to be able to do this by myself. Now, I may, hopefully, I will be able to create this society with 2 other people. I mean, that's not hard. I've got the paperwork. I need to change slightly. But I'm going to be working with, or I'll put any documents I create, I will put past Pete Stone. If you don't know who Pete Stone is, look him up. He's a British lad who's sovereign, who knows, he's one of the leading thinkers in England that I've found about this sovereign stuff. I've already asked him if he would go over the paperwork if I send anything to him, and he said yes. I've put the idea to him, but haven't pushed it to say that we need to do this, because there's only a certain amount of time left. Now, like I say, people who've worked on legal systems haven't necessarily worked on the rest of the stuff of reality. So, but when you combine everything, you bring it all together, you can get the solutions. So I truly believe that if I can create a society, all I need to know, again, a show of hands, who would be willing to join. Literally, all you got to do is join, and then everything would be the way it should be within that society. So if the police stop me for any reason, you give them your notice of claim, and then they're fucked, basically. Because anything they do to you, because the paperwork does is take you out of the legal system. You've got a notice of intent, and a notice of understanding, and then a notice of claim, and that's it. You can take your car out of the system, so your car's not in the system anymore. You don't have to obey by any of the rules that they make up. Remember, the highway code is just a code. It's not law. The police go around saying you broke the law and all that. You haven't broke any law. That's just their rules, and it's not a law. It's just a policy, and a policy for businesses. So you do not have to obey by it, but to do that, you have to be able to stand up and say why you don't obey by it. Most people will just go to court and just fall for it. Again, once you've gone to the court, which is a ship, that's why you're on the dock, you realise everything's a ship, and the judge is basically the captain of the ship, and their rules go, it's their ship. So what you've got to do is claim it again. Once you look up the word court, it doesn't mean what you think it means. It's just a place where people go to talk. It's literally it. So a court's not what you think. The whole rules, it's bullshit. So like you say, once you understand what trade actually is, and it's just energy exchanging within itself. Exchange, it's out of change. So things change. If I've got something and I'm exchanging it with something else, they've now got something out of change. And what was the change? The money, the money, the coins. Well, that's, like I say, I didn't want to just fly through this. There was so much, or so many different connections to show how it all works. And I wrote it down. But you see, when you're thinking about these things, I can go into great detail for ages on one topic. And then I'll put it to one side once I've told somebody it. And then go to another topic and remember all of that. And then go to the next one, and next one, and next one. And then you've got to bring it all together and keep it simple. So I've kept it as simple as I could. There was lots more to it, I'm sure of it. I think I've went through it too quickly. Hebrew, separation of Torah, water, sleep. Yep, done all of those. I had to write down a list of prompts that I was going to use to be able to remember all of this. I'm just going over it now to see if there's any more thoughts I can have on any of them. The feminine and masculine energy is really important as well, to realise that it's just you. An angry man in the world, well, do you ever get angry? It's the same energy, it's the same thing. So when people are judging all these people for being angry, or like people like Santos and saying he's angry, well, he's angry, and he's got right to be angry. He knows a lot of stuff, right? Now just think about it. If you know that the world is fucked the way it is, and people are arguing you against it, and you've got so much truth in you, and you've got so many people listening, but you've also got a lot of people attacking, saying how wrong you are and all the rest of it, and you know you're right. How would that make you feel? How much frustration would that lead to? I know what's wrong with Santos, and I know why he feels the way he does, and why he projects out the way he does. And I get it. I don't blame him for it. It just is what it is. What he needs to do is just to let go of the control. You can't make people wake up. They'll wake up on their own time. Everybody's on their own path. So the way I do it, I work with people who do want to know, and I just don't care about the ones that don't. If they're actively going against it, they're actively going against it, and that's up to them. But I don't make it my problem. That'd be pointless. You're taking on all that negative energy. So yeah, I understand why people are like that, and I get it. But again, it's a choice. That's their path. If you're focusing on people doing negative things, then you're making that your path. And that's not your path. Your path is not to judge anybody else. It's just to be able to understand why they are the way they are. And don't be like that. It's that simple. Use it as an example of what not to be. and then you move past it. So, right, I don't know, I'm going to put the questions back on. I don't know how to do that, like. Oh, there we go. Right, I'll have a read of some. Oh, God. How much rain, man? Bring them on camera. All right, it's asking to bring them on camera. Oh, I can bring people on camera. Does anyone want to be on camera? Does anyone want to join in? No questions. That's good. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There's some right in there. Yeah, cool like that. Well, if you want to bring anything from manifestation into reality, it's not hard. To create a thought from a thought into reality is simple. You've got to live it in your subconscious first, and that's it. So close your eyes. Whatever it is, I won't. Whatever it is, I don't care. Whatever the desire is in your head, close your eyes, live it. Let's say you want to win the lottery. See yourself winning the lottery. See yourself having that winning ticket. Feel that excitement you would feel. Feel it. Think of all the people you can help. You know, think of that. Feel that gratitude you would feel. Live it. Make it real. Once you've created the experience in your head and you felt it and it was real, it will manifest in your life. Everything that you experience in your life, you created as thoughts and feelings in your head first. You focused on it and then it manifested. 100% guaranteed that's how it works. The majority of people do not control how they think or what they're focusing on. Like I say, the English language gives you the ability to express yourself in ways that lots of other languages don't. And that's not necessarily a good thing if you don't control how you feel. It's a choice. You can wake up every morning and focus on the negative feelings. Okay, you know what? Someone wakes you up when you're asleep and you wake up and you're grumpy. That's why. You're in feminine energy and you've just been dragged out of it into the masculine energy. In the feminine energy, the woman is not happy about it. You've just woke her up. You're just not happy. So she gets grumpy. The same with food. It's the same thing. It's the same principle. So you'll understand that anything that's done with the feminine energy, if you don't keep her happy, you will then project out the negative anger from a masculine point of view. You become violent, which is masculine energy. So all the things that a man would do, that's masculine energy, but a woman's still capable of doing it, but she's using her masculine energy to do it. So I'm simply talking about the divine feminine and the divine masculine. They're talking shit. It's not divine anything. It's just masculine energy and feminine energy and just the peak of a wave or the compression of a wave. This happens every time you... Okay, think of blinking. Again, think of any levels like the luminaries. Yeah. So blinking's the same. Blink, blink. Subconscious, conscious, subconscious, conscious. Black light, white light, black light, white light. That's how many times do you blink? Now, what's the next fractal up from that? It's day and night. Yeah. Day, eyes open, night, eyes closed. Same principle. The next one up from that, life, peak of a wave, death, compression of the wave. Right, so it goes up and down, up and down. So life, death, life, death. The waters, out of the waters, in the waters, out of the waters. It's the same thing. So the universe is following the same pattern. Yeah, light, darkness, light and darkness. And right now we're in light. Come the 31st of October, you're going back into darkness, back into the waters. When in the waters, you then get a choice, are you going to come back or not? Yeah, it's so simple. And people make it so complicated. So yeah, that's how you manifest. That's how reality is going to play out. And these aren't things that Rob says. People go, no, but Rob, that's just your point of view. Look, they're not my point of view. They're just patterns, and the patterns exist. If they didn't exist, I wouldn't be able to observe them. So it's not me making this stuff up. These patterns exist out there, and you just got to be quiet, shut your mouth, and listen to your thoughts, and they'll show you. But you've got to want to do it. You've got to ask yourself to do these things. If you don't, then you won't. You'll just put the telly on and watch some television. You put YouTube on and just watch some random videos. So I wake up in the morning with what I want to do in my head that day. If it's focusing on this, that's the choice I'll make. So for the last 3 days, I've done nothing but focus on all these ideas and thoughts going over and over and over in my head to the point I sleep and dream about them. That's how bad it gets. But that's what you need to do to be able to get these answers. And they just flow. They just flow. They just come. They just come. Like the other day when I was thinking about a ship and a shop, I was upstairs talking to Jay, and I was saying how it's all wrong and fucked up. And I was like, look, all you got to do is change the vowel, change the O to an I, and the shop becomes the ship, and then you'll see the truth. And everything to do with a shop is a ship. But then that goes for a city, is the same principle. All cities are on rivers. You've got to question that. Why is a city on a river? It's to be able to do trade. Coastlines, everything's on a coastline. People generally don't live in the middle of a country, unless you're in Australia. Right, I say in Australia. The majority of people don't live in the centre of Australia, but if you do, God, it's a hard life. So yeah, most people live by water. Why? Because you're from the waters. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say today. And yeah, I don't know. It might be stuff that you didn't know. Because I read this stuff and I think about this stuff, and to me, I take it for granted now, and it's just matter of fact. But I know for other people that they don't think about these things all the time, so it might be big for them. I don't know. I hope it is. I hope we had some revelations, or if not, nothing else, just to make you think deeper and think more. Like you say, you can break all the words up if you want. I mean, even a nightmare. So what's a nightmare? Mare is another word for sea. So even in the word nightmare, if you take away the negative connotations, it's a scary dream. Nightmare simply means night sea, or so when you're asleep, you're in the sea or the oceans. What's the other one? Hebrew, Sheol in Hebrew. Again, Hebrew, brew. Brew's what? Well, you brew a cup of tea. So you're leaving something, yeah? You're leaving something so it brews. And he be masculine energy. You can't go into to words themselves and then letters and work out how the letters work. And I watched a video the other day where it shows that the English language come from the Greek. Was it the Greek? I think it was the Greek, and the Greek came from. It all went back to the zodiac. All of it has went back to the zodiac. And they doubled. I think it was Greek, the symbols of them, and they doubled them, and then they reversed them, something like that. But once you understand that the language itself comes from the zodiac, and then Aquarius, there was 13 signs, and Aquarius was the waters. And they didn't use back in the ancient times. They didn't use they didn't use Aquarius in the zodiac, or didn't include it, because they said that all the other signs were on that one. So the waters again. So everything's on Aquarius or the waters, and everything else rises up from that in the zodiac. So again, the zodiac shows that the waters is the start and the end. So yeah, we'll go back into the waters. People, how's it going to end, Rob? How do you know? Well, I don't understand how you can't even tell. You mean, just look at the world, what's going on, how much truth is out there. People are doing posts now on Facebook about 2024 being the end. Where's that coming from? I've been saying it for the last 8 years. Everyone, it's 2020, it's this time, it's that time. And then it was like, no, it's not going to end. I'm like, but it is though. And now people are starting to say it. They're starting to say it more and more. Why? Because they're starting to remember the end is the beginning. That's all it is. It's nothing to fear. Again, do you fear going to sleep? Well, death is sleep. It's the same thing. And if you look up the word dream, dream's not what you think. Dream, what was it? Dream meant visions. Night visions or something, I think dreams meant. But before that, before night visions, it simply meant to be happy. It had nothing to do with sleep. It was just to be happy during the day. So that was dreaming. Just to be happy and content. I'm pretty sure that's what it went. So just look up the word dream. You'll see things are not what you think. I'm trying to think of some more words. I've looked up words today. Oh, I can't think of the word. But there's loads. Oh, what was that one? Oh, there's so many words. It's like you just choose words and then look them up. I don't choose random words. I obviously look up words that I think are relevant or important, and then I'll look up them and see the patterns. Right. I'm pretty sure I've covered everything. I'm not even sure how long I've been on. Oh, nearly an hour. That's good. That'll do. I think I've spoke a lot. I've said enough. I will be going on. I'll do a live with Barrett, and I'll probably go over. I'll go over it again. But then by that point I'll have questions as well. So anyone's got any questions, just put them just put them on my wall or whatever. I don't know. Just ask the questions, messages or something, and I'll make sure I'll answer the questions in the live with Barrett, because then I'll be able to answer questions at the same time. Because I can't read and then talk at the same time, because I'll lose my trail of thought. And I'll have a big long period of dead air where I'm not saying anything. But yeah, I think I've covered everything. Yeah. So I'll leave it there for now. If I do remember anything I've not said, like I say, I'll put them on the next live with Barrett. I'm not sure when that will be. I will find out. I'll message him today to see when he wants to do one. It'll be in the next week or so, I'll imagine. Anyway, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and I do hope I shared something that you didn't already know. If not, well, sorry. So anyway, until next time, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.